Now weather with meteorologist Elisa Raffa.
Welcome back. We're clear of severe thunderstorm watches this morning. We had some overnight where that strong line of storms came through. Colin was showing you some of the damage, and some of the damage that it did leave behind was a lot of wind damage. There were reports of hail up around Lake of the Ozarks. We're still filling in some of these reports. That tornado icon should be on there because that tornado was confirmed. It was confirmed as an EF1 tornado with 95-mile-per-hour winds. It had a path, a pretty short path of about a mile and a half. It did have some roof damage for parts of the area. There was some snapping of trees, some trees that were uprooted. It did destroy outbuildings, some also part of that wind damage as well. What Colin was showing you, some of those pool outhouses that were completely destroyed and flipped over. Their neighbor had a broken window and some shingles taken off of the roof. And again, this all happened at about 2 o'clock this morning. That was our first tornado warning this morning, and then that line progressed east. Now, it started with some wind damage over in Webb City. That's where there were some telephone poles and power lines that fell on top of cars and damaged those cars there. So again, some pretty damaging winds for part of the area this morning. We've also had heavy rain. There were a line of storms up from Nevada through Lake of the Ozarks that just kept dropping heavy rain. 2 to 3 inches of rain fell pretty quickly up there. We've got some heavy rain that came through northwest Arkansas. And look at where the path of heavy rain has been, kind of south and east of I-44, and that's where it's going to stay. So we'll keep a threat for heavy rain and localized flooding because a lot of these soils are already saturated from overnight, and we'll continue to drop more rain on them. So we've had a couple of rounds come through already. This is one round that's trying to head out. We've got some locally heavy downpours and some lightning in there. No severe weather with that. We've got another batch moving in. This should be one of the last. We've got some more heavy rain in there getting into northwest Arkansas. And look at all the lightning. You can see the white up in there is a lot of lightning. Again, we're not seeing any severe weather with this round, but the lightning and the heavy rain could cause just as much of a headache. We've got some of the heavy rains causing some ponding on the roads there. So we're keeping an eye out on these batches that are coming through Oklahoma. These will continue to pull into the Ozarks through the midday and through the afternoon. We're keeping an isolated risk for severe weather. Notice it looks a little bit different. That risk is diminishing because what it looks like it's going to happen as those rounds come through from Oklahoma, we could still get some isolated cases of wind and hail up in this yellow risk here, that slight risk for areas kind of south and east of Springfield. It does look like the afternoon threat is continuing to diminish because the atmosphere has done so much work already today. There's not enough left for it to do more work in the evening and overnight hours. So more concerned about this morning, the early afternoon time frame, kind of now until the early part of the afternoon. By this evening and overnight, we should really start to be wrapping things up. That severe threat is continuing to diminish, but we're still keeping that threat for heavy rain and localized flooding as the storms continue to fill in from Oklahoma. We'll keep rounds of heavy rain. I mean, the severe weather threat, it's not zero. We can still get some isolated storms, and if we do get a strong storm, all modes of severe weather will be possible, and all those storms clear by Friday morning. Hour by hour, you can see we've got a lot of that heavy rain in the oranges and the reds here, some of those locally heavy downpours. And then if these lines of storms get to organize, that's where we'll have that threat for damaging winds. But notice what happens. It kind of heads out and then it's done. That front that comes behind it, it's not going to really have a lot to work with anymore to get storms to fuel again. So we'll probably be pretty quiet as we head through the overnight hours. 79 degrees today. We'll have these rounds of showers and storms. 63 overnight. The storms will end. 74 tomorrow with lingering clouds. The weekend, not too bad, mostly sunny on Saturday, 78 degrees, and we'll keep a shower risk late on Sunday, but Sunday afternoon looks good.